Welcome to Truckers Voices Podcast. Your host, Tim Taylor, and co-host, Steve Brand. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
This is Danny Smith. Just calling to tell you how much I appreciate listening to your show, Truckers Voices. It's very informative. I really like hearing the driver stories, how they got into the trucking industry and maybe what kind of trucks they started out with. And it's just been a lot of fun, and I would encourage any drivers out there to tune in and listen, call in, be a part of it. It's a great show. Thanks.
Hi, this is Scott Post, and I love Truckers' Voices because there's always something entertaining and educational for our industry. And it's also hosted by two of my good friends, Tim Taylor and Steve Brand. Tune in tonight. And in the meantime, be safe out there.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? My name's Charlie Demchuk, and I'm here to welcome you to tonight's big show. Y'all sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Tim and Steve got a good one in store for you. So have a good night. We'll see ya.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope that y'all had a great day out there trucking on our nation's highways. Hey, let me tell you something. Every one of you truckers out there that's listening to me tonight, you are important to this nation. You are that kink in that chain that keeps it strong, okay? Without you, this nation couldn't move forward. We appreciate each and every one of you that we get out there and we share the highway with every day. We got a good show for you tonight lined up. We got a gentleman here by the name of Earl Taylor. He drives for Penske Logistics. We're going to find out about Earl's story tonight about how he got into trucking and everything else he's got going on in his life. But anyway, I'm glad that you are here tonight. Y'all remember tonight at some point we're going to open up the phone lines. You can call in. The number's on the screen right there. It's 251-616-2151. And y'all can come and join the conversation there. But anyway, let me bring that other old fella in here named Mr. Steve Brand and see what he's got going on tonight. Steve, what's going on, brother?
Just kind of hanging out with a couple good guys. We got a good one coming on right now, and got a little NASCAR going on in the background there.
Wait. When you say truck driver and you say hanging out now, we just got to look down at them steering wheel holders down there. They're hanging out.
How's your weather down there, brother? Ours is rainy, stormy, about 53 degrees. It's been some weird weather up here this week. Yesterday, 60?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We got about a 78, partly cloudy skies today, but the sun was shining through. It was actually a pretty nice day today. And I'm sure when we talk to our guest, he's going to tell us what the weather is down there in Florida, man.
I don't even want to hear it.
Hey, man, we live in God's country down here, brother.
Well, let's put it this way. When I got out of my pickup to come in the house, it was 53 degrees, kind of spit rain a little bit. And the weather report's going to get down in the upper 20s, low 30s, possibly snowflakes in the air in the morning.
Wow.
So, hey, welcome to Ohio. Wow. If you don't like the weather, hang around 24 hours. It'll be different.
Land of the useless nuts.
Big time, and we just had a wreck. Oh, they just had a wreck. Man.
What are you looking at?
I'm watching the TV in the living room in there. It's got the Gatorade duels on it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It's NASCAR season, baby. It's NASCAR season, you know.
You made me think that you was in a truck or something, or you could see the highway from your house. I'm like, I've been to your house before. I know you can't see the highway.
No, man, it's on TV. It's all good. It's all good. I'm multitasking. Something
I,
I'm not very good at, but hey, we're working on it. So
I
no, man, it feels good. We was out last week. We give everybody a little bit of reprieve. Uh, Psyched, ready to go. We got a good guest on tonight. It's been
yeah,
a good trucking week. I mean, you know, it's awesome. Hope everybody had a good time.
yep.
Everybody's doing good. You know, so
Well, tell me a little bit. I know that you've had the opportunity to work with Earl in the past before. So just tell me your perspective about this young man that's going to be coming on.
great man, great individual. Knows his stuff when it comes to professionalism, driving a truck, promoting safety in the industry. And yeah, me and Earl's had a great time together. Look forward to many, many more great times in the future. He's a busy man. Follow him on Facebook and stuff. He's a busy man.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like all of us. He's got something going on every day. You
Well,
know.
you know he's got to be a good man if he's got the last name Taylor.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I didn't tell everybody, but we're brothers.
Works for me. Works for me. But he's tailor made.
He's
He's
Taylor.
tailor made.
That's right. Hashtag Taylor made, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
goodness gracious. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to know Earl. He is a great guy. He is a great professional, great representative of the industry for sure. And we couldn't ask for a better guest tonight. So, with that said, let's bring him on in here.
Sounds good.
How you doing there, Taylor Made?
Man, you guys make me sound like I'm really something special.
You are, man. Look here, you're on Truckers Voices tonight. So you are
Yes,
special.
sir. Yes, sir. I'm
Well,
looking forward to it.
Well, it's good to see you, Earl, and we are glad that you come on and talk to the listening audience and for you to tell your story to them about your trucking experience, how you got into trucking and all that, you know. But anyway, hey, we got a question that we got to address right out the gate here. So the
Let's
question
do it.
is, and Steve brought it up to crush his heart. What's the weather like down there?
Oh man, I had to decide if I wanted to wear shorts out today, but it was a little cool, 78, 77. But I stayed inside for most of the day. I was preparing for tonight, but sunny as usual, a little overcast, but not bad. I would have been a good time to wash my truck if I felt up to it. That's not quite as easy a task as it used to be.
Yep, yep. And I got you. Hey, speaking of washing your vehicle there, you have got a vehicle that you are pretty much proud of. Tell me a little bit about that. I know we're not talking about trucking yet, but I want to hear about this vehicle
Oh,
that you're
okay.
pretty proud of.
Oh yeah, I have a 1990 25th year anniversary Mustang. It's a Fox body GT that I had rebuilt from the bottom up. Uh, I didn't do a whole lot of it myself other than pampering and spoiling it and keeping it in the garage for the most part. Can't afford gas for it for half the time, but it's a nice little toy. My boys love it. And my wife says that's my second wife. I'm like, no, baby, no, nobody can compare to you, of course.
Oh, good gracious, good gracious.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
nice piece though, man.
it is, I know it is, and I know that you're proud of it there, and it looks nice. So you take real good
Thank you.
care of her there. Um, so let's go ahead and jump right on into the interview tonight, and
Okay.
I just want to know first of all, how long have you been in the trucking industry total?
I've been driving professionally since 1992, but I was in the military and I drove 5 ton truck in the military with a 15 kW generator on a long chassis trailer. So I kind of got my teeth cut there for the most part, getting used to oversized vehicles. But professionally, I've been driving since about 1992, if I remember correctly.
Okay, all right. So, did you start off with Penske Logistics, or did you start off with another company?
No, sir, I did not. I started out with UPS actually. I was hired by UPS in 1987, right out of the military. I worked in a trailer shop doing trailer repairs, and just so happened that that location needed a shuttle driver to go and pick up equipment. And I was asked, and UPS had just started their apprenticeship program for in-house employees, and I raised my hand, and the rest is history. I just started driving from there, doing shuttles, picking up pups from the turnpike, that kind of stuff, short route stuff. But then it grew, it got better. I finally got a route uh, back and forth to the airport. And I did 20 years of that, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I learned a lot while I was there, but you know, things change, opportunities come, and they offered me an early out, and that's how I ended up working with Penske Logistics. But long story short, I worked both jobs for 10 years. I worked UPS full time and Penske Logistics part time at night. It was very, very hard, but when hours of service started to kick in really hard, I had to choose. So I chose to go with Penske Logistics, being that UPS offered me an early out at 20 years of service. So I took it. I mean, we both shook hands and parted under good ways. I don't have anything bad to say about UPS. They're a great company. I love their employees. I love the way they treated me while I was there. And I think it was a good thing for me coming out of the military because I was still somewhat square, institutionalized from being in a military lifestyle. And UPS is very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the repetition.
Right.
But it was a great relationship between myself and them. But things happen, and you move on.
Yeah, yeah. So when you was in the military, was you driving any kind of heavy equipment over there?
Yeah, I drove a 5-ton vehicle. It was a 5 speed. My MOS, we had to carry this giant computer on the back of a trailer. And to power it up, um, it was a 15 kW uh, generator, which was also on the trailer. So we had two trucks, one with the computer on the back, and it was called a shelter. And my actual MOS was Tactical Operations Specialist, which is a 13 Charlie. That job now is on a laptop, and the guy rides around on a motorcycle with a sidecar. So it's come a long way from when I was there.
Wow.
But that's how I got my teeth cut, man. I mean, um, it was a really big vehicle. I was a fairly small guy, and it helped me get over the 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 size and shape of the vehicle. When you're not used to driving something that big, it can be a challenge. But that helped me with the practice. Getting used to handling a large vehicle.
He's in deep thought. He's in deep
Right.
thought. I see that.
No,
Uh,
no, go.
I didn't mean to mesmerize you with that, but uh,
Earl, what you said you got out of the military and you went to work as a trailer mechanic over at UPS. Uh, what just have you always kind of wanted to drive a truck or just
well, I'll tell you what. I grew up in a household where there was a lot of different type vehicles, race cars, cool cars, classic cars. I've always grown up around vehicles. I don't remember ever living in my household where there wasn't at least one muscle car and a pickup truck in the yard. Not ever do I remember that. And one of my older siblings, I'm gonna say his name, James Taylor. They call him JT around here. He was a owner operator back in the day, and I was always mesmerized with him and his truck. He had a Kenworth, a cab over, really nice blue, and he would come home from one of his long trips with all his lights on at dusk, and you'd see him coming down the road, and people would be waving their hands, and he'd be blowing that horn. I just thought it was so cool, but it just never motivated me to honestly say I wanted to be a truck driver. But I was always mesmerized with him and his career as a over the road truck driver, and he actually was the person that actually made me feel like I could do it. And to be honest with you, man, I was just trying to take care of my family. I had recently gotten married, and we had just bought a house and was expecting a kid. I was like, okay, it's time to get really, really serious about a career and not just a job. And I started out with the trailer mechanic, but that was just to get my feet in the door at
Right.
UPS because, at UPS, you couldn't, at that time, you couldn't come off the street and go straight into a tractor trailer. You
Right.
had to work in the warehouse or in the maintenance facility or drive a package car, which I wasn't uh, gonna turn down either. I mean, whatever it took to get my feet in the door. But it was just God and His work, man. I mean, I ended up in the trailer shop. I was learning a lot of things about tractors and trailers. My last 8 years there, I spray painted. I learned something about auto body work, and I was painting brown and gray every day, brown and gray, more brown than gray. I was great. It was great to see yellow safety equipment every now and then, but for the most part, it was brown, 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 sexy brown all day.
Right.
But that opportunity came, and I just jumped on it. I mentioned to my brother that, hey, look, they got a driving position coming open. Can you help me out? And at that time, he was working at ABF, which that's where he retired from. And he used to do some detail work for them on their yard on his off time, and he'd have me come over and sit in the truck and teach me how to move the gears around in the splitter. I learned all that stuff from him. So once it came to me training with UPS in a tractor trailer, I was already a little bit ahead of the game. Man, I've been driving since I was 14.
Right.
You know, and my dad was diagnosed. He had cataracts, and he couldn't see at night. So that wasn't gonna stop him. You know what I mean? When he wanted to go, he wanted to go, and I was his driver. And I really can say that I learned how to be a cautious driver from my dad.
Right.
Being patient, taking my time, being respectful of others. I mean, I guess he was teaching me that because at the time we were definitely illegal, me being 14 and him in the passenger seat. So I don't think he wanted to stir up any trouble, but he taught me a lot of those things about being patient and understanding what I'm driving, a small vehicle versus a big vehicle, a vehicle that sits down low versus one that sits up high. You know, got all
Right.
that stuff, man, from different family members, honestly. But my brother and my dad, I can honestly say, helped me to get where I'm at now.
That's awesome. And it just excuse me, that just proves that lights and chrome will attract people, and
Oh
it
yeah,
just
that
it
is for sure.
oh yeah. Oh yeah,
That is for
that's
sure.
awesome.
Shiny wheels with tire dressing and some lights that'll get them every time. Every
Exactly.
time.
And now
You
we're
know,
out
Steve,
driving.
I remember when we was going through elections at ATA, when we went to the White House, you and I rode on the bus together back.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's when they had just announced who were selected, and you and I was, congratulating each other. And I believe I shared a story with you about how I was wearing my dad's shoes.
Yes, sir.
I've heard about that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I had my dad's shoes on. I was like, Steve, I had to do it. I brought them just for this occasion because I knew this was gonna happen, and I
Yes, sir.
wanted to share that with him in some kind of way. And it's funny, he only wore the shoes one time, and I still have them to this day. To this day, and I still wear them on some special occasions, you know.
Yeah.
And I shared that story with Steve, and I felt like you felt what I was feeling at that time, and
I did.
I that our
I
relationship started to grow from that point right there because you share it with me and I share it with you, and that's how friendships start right there.
That's exactly right. That is something that crosses my brain every once in a while. You know, you're riding down the road, you're paying attention to what you're doing, but you're kind of thinking about things. And
Right.
when Tim told me the other day that you was coming on the show, that was the first thing that come to my mind
I figured,
of
yeah,
of our
I
bus
figured
ride, and you shared that story with me, and we had a bonding moment right then, and we still do.
right there. Yes,
Right
sir.
there,
Yes,
brother.
we did.
Hey, let me tell
Yes,
y'all
sir.
about it. Let me tell y'all about another bus ride that we all three had, and we all could bond over this because it was cold. Y'all remember that first bus ride we had?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And me coming from Florida in my little Florida jacket. Ooh, man, I've never been that cold. Not since Germany have I been that cold. I think that was the coldest day of my life.
I,
That
I,
was
I tell you what, it was cold that night, and every once in a while, a picture of surface of us together, and you can just
Right.
see it in our eyes, see it in our face. And I never fretted so bad when I woke up Monday morning, and my roommate, Scott Harrison, looked at me and said, "Well, good morning, sunshine." And I went to talk, and I sound like a teenage kid going through puberty. I lost my voice. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I got to give a speech, I got to do an interview. I was gargling hot salt water, but it was cold. Oh, it was cold. Ooh.
Man, I felt bad for the statues outside. It was so darn cold.
yeah. You're right. You're right. Well, hey, Earl, let me ask you this question here. Through your career, and we always ask everybody this same question:
Sure.
what kind of different trucks have you driven over your career?
What are you asking? Make and brand or just size and style?
Yeah,
I,
make
I,
and
I've driven Volvo, Mack, Freightliner, International, uh, Kenworth. Uh, that's about it that I can think of off the top of my head.
so
I started out with a cab over GMC with a
there we go.
short shifter on the doghouse.
That's
Imagine imagine training somebody in today's standards with that thing.
absolutely. That's where I was trying to get you to go to see if you had ever driven anything unique like that. Um,
Oh yeah,
and we all remember our experiences with some of the trucks that we had to drive.
exactly.
I had a Brigadier that I drove one time, and I was going over there. I was doing local pickup and delivery, and I'm riding over there, and in my floorboard, I'm looking at the highway through my floorboard.
Oh man,
Yeah,
it was hard to convince somebody that I was a truck driver because when I get home, I smell like gasoline, oil, antifreeze, everything from that doghouse having so many holes in it, sitting over the top of that motor.
my wife
Uh,
sometimes she says. My wife will say when I get home, sometimes she'll say, "Hey, you smell like truck." I said, "That's diesel by Cyber J." So anyway, so while you were in the military, were you deployed anywhere, Earl?
uh, it's called TDY. I was always stationed in Fort Hood,
Yeah.
Texas, and I was in a regiment, so I was kind of stuck in Fort Hood, but my MOS allowed me to travel to a few places. I've been to Belgium. I've gone TDY twice to Germany to train. Um, Went to an airport in the airfield in Grenada and sat there for 2 weeks waiting for somebody to say, let's go. We're going to do this. But Reagan sent us back home. He said he'd take care of it. So I didn't worry about it. I just listened to my chief.
There you go. There you go. Um, now again, How long have you been driving altogether?
Well, I went into the military in 1983. After my basic training, once I got to my permanent duty station, which was probably July of 84
Uh huh.
after my AIT, and I was issued keys to a 5K with a 6 speed counting reverse, the 5 speed, 5 kW. And it started then. And it took me about a week to get used to pulling the trailer. They never let us back them at first. It was just learning how to turn corners with, an extended combination style type vehicle. And I don't know if you're familiar with those old 2 ton and 5 ton vehicles. The seats always set all the way back. You drove with your tiptoes. Your feet never touched the floorboard.
Wow.
Imagine that. And trying to push a clutch in, and I'm only 5'9", and I would imagine a 6 foot guy would have had a better chance of driving a lot smoother. But I got it done.
Yeah.
I pulled my seat up as far as I could and just got up on the wheel,
Yeah.
and just made it happen, man.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. That's where most of us are that are in the trucking industry. We adapt and we overcome and we make things happen there. I got a couple more questions, but I'm gonna let Steve get in there if he's got anything.
Okay.
Okay, where do you want me to go with this?
Uh, whatever you want to
No,
do.
no, I want to say thanks again, Earl. Appreciate your service, sir. And
Thank you.
Yep.
we appreciate that. And so, what is it you do today? What exactly do you do? Like me, I get in the truck, hook 2 trailers, go to Pennsylvania, switch them out, come home. It's what is
I
it?
got
What's your routine?
Some days I do something very similar to that. It's called a relay shuttle. I'll do that sometimes. But basically, at my location that I'm at now, which logistics service, you can be hauling nails one day, produce another day, and building materials some other day. But I'm on this account now. It's called Sprouts, which is a grocery store, and it's a lot of produce. And I'm training drivers. It's a new location. Most of the drivers that I train are already drivers. They have a CDL for the most part, and they're looking to get hired. And I run a yard. I do some dispatch for the most part, and I pretty much maintain the equipment, as far as safety and compliance, making sure things are within spec and stickers and placards are where they're supposed to be, that kind of thing. And every now and then, I'll just ask, hey, can I do a run? I'm not in my comfort zone with this. I need to see the lines on the road because that's what I'm used to.
Right.
And and once you get away from that, for so long, it's kind of hard to just jump right back in. So I don't ever want to lose my touch with the road. So I'll take a route every now and then to make sure I still, practice my skills, and all my disciplines are still in place. Because you can get complacent sometime, and all it takes is for one time for something to happen because you're not at on top of your game. So I
Right.
don't I don't ever want to not be at my best when I'm out on the road. So I'll try and take a run or a route every now and then when I can.
Yeah, yeah. So Earl, do you ever see yourself going into like a management safety type position full time?
It's funny you mentioned that, Tim, because it's been presented to me several times,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it means me relocating because there are no positions like that here where I live, and I just not thinking about uprooting my family. I mean, I just got everybody back home.
Right.
Both my boys were gone to college, and wife and I were empty nesters, and we're still empty nesters now. But it's good to have them close because on the holidays I get them both back, like the old days. their birthdays. I'm not calling saying happy birthday. I can go to where they live and see them,
Right.
and I don't want to go back through that again unless I could pick them up and take them with me. I don't want to go through that again. But if that opportunity presents itself here locally with the company that I'm working for,
Right.
I've been with Penske, man. This year be 26 years,
Right.
and I'm not ready to leave there. I love that company. I love working for them, and I do believe I really feel like they love me working for them too.
Right. Right. And when you work for a good company, like we do, I think I got a call coming in. Let me check this out. We may have somebody trying to call in, y'all,
All right.
but I can't seem to get the screen up. Well, maybe that was a miscue. So anyway,
Okay.
if y'all want to call in, call 251-616-2151. But anyway, Earl, yeah, we do work for great companies, and
Yeah.
all three of us here, and uh, each one of us here, we got 20 plus years in. Some of us coming up on 30 years, and
Right.
you know, there's no reason to think about going anywhere else. Just
Oh
keep
no, not
No,
at
sir.
this point, man. And I'm sure you guys can attest to this. Once I became uh, a road team captain, it kind of exposed me of the magnitude of the trucking family as a whole. Before that, it was just my company, my job, and what I do. But then you see it on that scale, and it's really not about trucks anymore. It's about people helping people.
right.
Some
Yes, sir.
people drive trucks, some people do the routing, some people do the loading, some people do the unloading, some people do the warehouses. I mean, it's a family of people that make it happen for, I'm gonna say, humanity, man. I mean, we can't do anything without trucks. And it makes me feel so proud to be a part of something like that.
Right.
That's for sure. It just changed my whole perspective once I got exposed to that. It motivated me to want to do better, to learn more, to preach safety. Because if the load don't get there, nobody can use nothing on it.
That's right.
It's got to get there.
It's got to,
Somebody has to get it there. I don't care what it is, pharmaceutical, peaches,
yeah,
popsicles, whatever it is. If it don't get there, it's useless.
it's useless. And you're right. That was Scott Osborne trying to call in. I see the number here. I'm
Okay.
going to call him back and get him on there.
Okay.
Y'all go ahead and talk, but we may break right in on you, okay?
Okay, that'll
Okay.
work. But yeah, you're right, Earl. It's like when you make the road team, you go a different direction. You start seeing things from a bigger perspective. And
Oh
and like
yeah.
you said, it's people helping people. It's not a one
Hey,
man position.
this Scott.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Scott, this is Tim Taylor on Truckers Voices. How you doing tonight, brother?
Good. How about you?
Doing good. It's good to hear you in there, Scott. Hey, I didn't see. I was trying to get to the call a while ago. It just didn't show up right on the phone, but it finally showed up on the caller ID there. Scott, we got Earl Taylor on here with us. Can y'all hear him? Okay, there, panel.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear.
Good, good, good. All right, Scott. So, what you got to say tonight, man? The platform's yours.
I don't have too much to say other than, I appreciate Earl, putting his, being the driver he is, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and,
I
and
appreciate that.
and I can tell y'all right now, the man that y'all talking to on the phone, he is a professional for sure. Scott Osborne. He actually drives for FedEx Freight, and
All right.
he lives out Jackson, Mississippi. But I am privileged to know him, and he is a good person. So, Scott, we definitely thank you for calling in tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Scott, take care of yourself and holler at me soon, brother.
Oh, definitely. Hope to see you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye.
See, Scott.
All right, first call of the night. Y'all remember, if y'all want to call the show and talk to Earl tonight, it's 251-616. 2151, and we'll put you on the air there. So I tell you what, let's transition into some of these pictures we got over here. And
Oh,
the first one
okay.
that I'm going to put up there, I'm going to let you and Steve talk about this because y'all had a special relationship due to this. Okay,
Okay.
talk.
Ah,
I'll talk about that.
I just got to say that was a very proud moment. I know for Earl, but that was proud for me because we was doing an event in Louisville, Kentucky together, and it was a truck show. It was Matt's. Matter of fact, Matt's is coming up in the next month, and so anyway, we get down there. We put on our white button downs and our black slacks, and we're working the event. And we get told that there's a few of them that will be coming in later that night. So I find out, Earl's my roommate, and I get his key card and everything, and I sent him a text, and I said, hey, text me when you land. You're on the way to the hotel, and I said, I got your key card. Just come up, knock on the door. Well, in the process, I found out what he was doing, and I opened that door, and I'm telling you right now, that man just floated in the room. I mean, what a privilege, what an honor. And he
ah,
unpacked his suitcase. We talked. He told me from start to finish. And man, I'm telling you, it was like I was right there. That was awesome. That was awesome, dude. I mean, that was outstanding. Go ahead,
hey,
Daryl. Go ahead.
Steve, I'm glad I got a chance to share that with you. I can't think of a better person to have unloaded all that experience on from that night. Uh, Sometimes I still feel like I'm on cloud nine when I see that picture. It
Exactly.
was a great experience, man. I'm just so thankful that I got an opportunity like that to go to the White House. I feel like the White House really heard what we had to say as truckers, and I'll never forget that experience as long as I live. As long as I live, I would never, ever, ever forget how I felt when I was at that White House and how I felt when I came to Louisville and met up with the rest of you guys. I couldn't wait to get there and share my experience with you guys. We had just been um, recently elected. So that was one of my first events. I mean, if I remember correctly, it was probably my second event. And to have my second event as a new captain um, be that particular event, oh my God, man. I,
So
I just can't express how it felt having those trucks up on the lawn and him coming out and talking to us. And this particular picture right here, um,
yeah.
uh, Vice President Pence was congratulating us for our service, like we were military people. I was like, wow, okay, same thing. I mean, I'm still learning the process and the magnitude of what all this was really about, and I'm still riding the cloud on this one.
So I seen it whenever it come out that the next day, and I was looking and I was like, I know them people. That's my captains right there. So I was just as proud for y'all. Yeah, like you said, we all had just come off being elected to the America's Road team there, so that was a proud moment for our team altogether.
Right.
And so anyway, so Vice President Pence and President Trump, tell us what kind of people they are, Earl. When you one on one with them, like you guys were.
They were very receptive of what we had to say. They really wanted to hear what we had to say. Uh, they gave us all individually a chance and an opportunity to speak our piece. There was really no right or wrong or for. He just wanted to know how we felt about what we did,
Yeah,
and we all got our chance to have our say, and that felt really good. And I felt like they really cared about what we had to say as a whole, as a group,
yeah,
representing the trucking industry. And I think if I remember correctly, the whole event was about tax reform,
yep,
and it was a bill that we were trying to push through for highway infrastructure, and that was a hot topic back then, with all the congestion that we were going through and drivers having to park on the side of the road because they were running out of hours and the road conditions and all that stuff. I mean, he heard all of that from us. And he wanted to know where we were from and the different nuances of what we had to go through as drivers in our local areas. And him living a little further down the road from Orlando, he kind of knew that I knew what I was talking about, being in Orlando as a tourist town, because it is the worst place for a truck driver to drive during the day in the summer. I'm gonna
Yes,
tell you,
I know.
Orlando is not on the map as far as Atlanta and Dallas and some of these places like Cincinnati, where 71 and 75 meet. Um, is not mentioned in those same breaths, but I challenge you to come here with people riding down the road with the blinker on to go left, and they see something to the right that they're entertained by, and they literally want to stop in the road and continue to look.
Yeah, yeah, and that actually adds an extra dynamic to it when you're trying to be defensive too, for
That's
sure.
right. That's right. And the speed limit, I mean, even though it says 65, there's a minimum speed limit too. You got to drive faster than 50.
Right.
So driving 35 on the expressway, that makes a problem for everybody.
Exactly.
And you
Yes.
get to see a lot of that around here, especially in the tourist area. He kind of knew what I was saying. There were people from all over the country that had their different situations, mountains, and traffic in New York. I mean, I believe uh, I can't remember his name right now. Uh, Captain from New York. He spoke about
Charlton Paul.
um, Charlton Paul
Yeah.
spoke about the George Washington Bridge and the tolls, and I was like, wow, I know what you're talking about. I've never done it in my uh, tractor trailer, but I did get a chance to do it a few times in my personal vehicle. But Tim, when we went up to the Volvo
Yep.
event up in Rhode Island, my wife's from Rhode Island,
Yep.
and we happened to land right in the city she grew up in, and I was so overjoyed. I was like, wow, how can this happen? I end up right in the city where
Probably.
my wife grew up, doing my job that I love. And that was the very first time I drove a tractor trailer, the image truck, through the George Washington Bridge. I will never forget that experience as long as I live.
Yeah.
And back to what you were asking, the president and his staff, they all wanted to hear that story. They wanted to hear stories about our different challenges at work and what we had to go through. And the thing I got from the whole experience, I felt like they really, really wanted to know.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like the common dog and pony show. It didn't. I didn't get that feeling not once.
Right.
From the moment we stepped on that property, we were treated with respect.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Hey, I got another picture I want you to speak to here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Tell us what you got going on here. And it looks like you're on a panel here. What was you
Yeah,
in?
that was at Matt's a couple of years back. We were talking about the apprenticeship program, where you know how that works. The companies now are getting a little antsy about the hiring process because the schools take so long to get the drivers out and get them ready for school. So I mean, even my job, we've started our own apprenticeship program, but right now it's for the military personnel who want to become truck drivers. And that's a start. And we're going to start doing it for in-house here soon. I'm not exactly sure when, but that panel was for us to speak on the apprenticeship program, um, that's actually was being pushed by the government at that time to motivate companies to take on a program to get drivers trained so we could move some of this product that's sitting on the ground, man. You guys know just as well as I do, we got more trucks and product than we do drivers, and the
Right.
stuff's just sitting there. So if we're going to stay true to our word that trucking keeps America moving. It takes people to move the trucks. The trucks
That's that.
won't move themselves. Well, let me say not yet. The trucks don't move themselves yet. But
Right.
Right.
Was that
you know
part
what I'm
of
saying.
the was that part of the Drive Safe Act? Was that panel part of the Drive
Yes.
Safe Act to get the
Yes, it
18
was.
to 20-year-olds? Okay,
Correct.
I was
Yes,
thinking
sir.
that was
Right.
okay.
And you know, a lot of companies are targeting military for the same reason I mentioned earlier, that the equipment that they have to move and a lot of the training they get being in oversized vehicles. I think that MOS now for training, not training, but for driver training in the military is called 88 Mike, and it's a heavy equipment operator. You know, they don't really say driver, they say heavy equipment operator. And most of them are in like engineering type uh, MOSs where they're building bridges and carrying heavy equipment. And that's just what we need out here. Somebody that's not afraid of the vehicle. That's the hardest part to teach for somebody that's never been up in a tractor trailer,
Right.
getting used to the size and the shape of the vehicle. That's the hardest thing to get them over. But seems like as soon as they get over that, it's just like driving a car. I mean, we all probably cut our teeth driving manual shifts, but everything's automatic now. The trucks are very friendly to anyone that wants to drive.
Right. Right. Now, is this at Mid America Truck Show here also?
No, that's at the we had a driver's appreciation uh, in Green Hills, Pennsylvania. That gentleman you see there with me is senior vice president of operations. His name is Jeff Jackson. Really
Okay.
cool guy. I got a chance to meet him on several occasions, and he was just thanking me for my service. And they got the Wall of Fame drivers, and I was elected that particular year. I think the criteria you no accident, no injury for more than 20 years.
Wow.
So every year they choose a panel of drivers to be on that Wall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that particular year I had made it. I mean, still to this day I haven't, knock on wood, had an accident or an injury uh, over 20 years.
I got you. I got you. So, I've got to throw another picture up here of you. Just to explain to the listening audience. But Steve and I know what's going on this picture, but just to the listening audience, explain to them what you got going on here.
Well, down at the bottom of the picture, you will see some little heads right there. There was a class of students who we were teaching the Share the Road program to, that's administered by the ATA. And I was walking the students around the truck, showing them the blind spots and where we want them to ride at, allowing them to ask questions, showing them the nuances of the truck. I'm at right there. I'm at the front of the trailer and explaining to them about, I believe I was telling them about the actual tractor and how it connects. And they asked me questions about the fifth wheel and the airlines, that whole thing.
Yeah, and that leads me into another question here.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
you and I kind of got a little scoop on this. I ain't gonna tell you from who. I'll tell you after the show's off. But do you mentor new and future drivers daily outside of work?
Yes. Who
I
told
tell
you
them.
that?
I'll tell you after the show. Okay.
I do it all the time, man. I mean, all the time. And guys reach out to me and they want to know different things. And a lot of my past students come back, you know, they've moved on, but they still got questions, you know, because you never stop learning. You
Yeah.
never stop learning.
No, sir.
When the equipment changed, the curriculum changed. You
Right.
know what I mean? When
Yeah.
you go from 53 foot to pulling pups, it's different.
It's different. You're right.
It's different. When you go from pulling, I'm gonna say 15,000 to 20,000 pounds, and then you go to 30,000. Now you're getting close to maximum weight. It's different,
Right.
Right.
especially in the rain and special conditions like where you live, Steve. I mean, it's different. It's just not like in your car where you're gonna handle it and manage it the exact same way all the time. And that's not the case with the tractor trailer. Every day the condition can change, and you got to be ready for it.
Got to
And
keep
guys
him.
reach out to me, man, and I'm always there for any ear that wants to listen. I got so much information that's bottled up from my career over the years. I can't wait to share it, especially show it. My youngest son is actually in the trucking business now, but he's in the management program for Penske Logistics. So he's
Nice.
trying to be on the logistics side. But I told him, and I've iterated to him that to be the best at whatever it is you're going to do in this industry is always going to start with your knowledge of trucks and the people that drive them. I don't care where you work in this company or where you work in this industry, you better know something about the people that drive your equipment. You better know something.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
That's a
Um,
fact.
the next picture I'm gonna put up here. I think every one of us um, probably have one of these pictures here. Hold on, we got a call coming in, y'all.
Okay.
Awesome.
If I can get to it.
Not wanting to answer.
It's operator error.
No
It,
way. No way.
it is
No
operator error.
way.
Well, Earl, let me ask you this: Have you ever experienced a situation that I don't know, you're somewhere on your day off or whatever, and you see a truck driver struggling, trying to get it in a dock or something like that? Have you ever had that experience and walked up and approached the driver and,
All the
and asked
time,
him if
man.
there's anything you can do to give him a hand?
All the time. See, I was that guy. So I see somebody struggling with something. I mean, if
Hello.
they're receptive to
Hey,
it,
you're
then
on
of course
Truckers Voices. Who do we got
I'll
here?
be a ground guide for them.
My name is Tony Taylor, and I was wondering how you all felt about women in the trucking industry.
Well, that is a good question there, Tony, and we absolutely have had to tackle that question before. We love women in the trucking industry. As a matter of fact, on this show here, I've actually had women in trucking on here, and I think that we do not have enough women in the industry. But I'm going to let you speak to Earl real quick, because I think y'all know each other.
Okay.
To
So go
answer
ahead.
your question, to answer your question, the customer, the product, the merchandise doesn't care who moves it. It does not care. It's got to get where it's going. And me personally, I don't care who brings it or who takes it, especially if it's goods and services that I need. So the more the merrier. Um, I welcome it. I encourage it. I've even worked with the Women in Trucking organization, and I do totally understand and accept their movement. And I'm looking forward to some of the changes that are going to be made as a result of it. Some of it you can see right now, uh, better food choices at some of the truck stops, uh, more lighting at some of the rest areas. I mean, we've always asked for that, but now it's a bigger group that's making a bigger voice that's asking that same question, and it seems like more of it's getting done. So I hope that answers your question, Mrs. Taylor.
Yes, it did, Mr. Taylor, and thank you, and thank you all for your service. Have
Thank
a good
you.
Thanks,
night.
thanks
Have a
for
good night.
calling. Appreciate it.
Uh huh. Somehow I think you know her there.
I think I might know a little bit about her. She
I
takes good care of me. That's my teammate. That's my team.
I got you. I got you. Well, hey, let's get to this next picture here because I think that you and me and Steve, we all can appreciate this picture right here.
Oh man,
So tell us about that. Yeah, absolutely. That is our good friend John Lex, which passed
John Lex.
and he was a friend of the friends. And I don't know anybody that didn't like John. I mean, if they did, I mean, something's wrong with them, you know. But
I
John,
know it's
John
got
was
to be
a great guy.
something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
Earl,
were at a major we were at a major event, and Johnny and I had shared some laughs together earlier in the day, and he had told me a joke, and we were laughing about it. And he's always had that happy energy. I mean, you could see him from a distance, and you knew he was a happy guy. He
yep,
didn't have to
Yes,
be up on you and necessarily talking to you personally. You could hear him in a conversation with someone else, just the sound of his voice, the way he carried himself. I don't know anyone that was as friendly initially as he was. I mean, he was an amazing guy. He was an
absolutely.
amazing guy.
And it was a big loss to our industry when he
Oh
passed.
yeah,
Um,
he was a true ambassador.
he sure was. All right, so how I got some comments that have come in here. I'll just kind of we're coming up at the top of the hour, so we always try to cut it, the show at the top of the hour here. But
Man, you did say it flies fast when you're having fun.
it
yes,
does.
sir.
It does.
Yeah.
So, got here a question here from. I'll just actually put it up on the screen. How about that? How important is driving a manual transmission in the trucking industry?
Is that actually came from my son?
Yeah, I thought so.
Uh, yeah, that came from my youngest son. Is I always say it's an advantage to know how to drive a manual, because you never know if your automatic breaks down what the rental company is going to give you. You just don't know. And
Right.
if you can't drive a manual and that's what they bring you, guess what? You're going home for the day.
Yep.
And
Yep.
somebody else is going to come and drive that manual, and they're going to get paid to either do your route or finish your route.
Yep.
But by today's standards, through the training, is not totally necessary to learn how to drive a manual. Is something you can learn gradually along the way now. Unlike when we started driving, that's all that there was. And a lot of guys didn't make it because they couldn't be smooth with it. I mean, they could drive in a car, but you
Right.
put weight on the back, it's a different story.
Right.
Right.
But by today's standards, the answer is question is not detrimental to know how to drive uh, a manual, but it's always good to have your ears open every time you get an opportunity to learn how to drive a manual.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let me scroll through some of these comments here, and we'll go through them kind of quickly. Mr. Low Singer, he says we all made good friendships that week that we were at selections there.
Yes, sir.
That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Lifelong friendship.
Lifelong
Yes, sir.
friendship. And he reminded me it was 13 degrees that night
Oh,
that
Oh
we
my
were there.
God.
Yeah.
Who knows what the wind chill was? You know what I mean? That's just as big a number. Jesus.
Uh huh. Uh huh. But anyway, Earl, man, it is 8:58. So we're gonna take two last questions, and we're gonna wrap the
Okay.
show up. Uh, where do you see yourself at 10 years from now with the trucking industry?
Well, 10 years from now, I mean, I'm 58. So 10 years from now, I'm hoping I'm holding an umbrella drink on some beach somewhere around here, to be totally honest with you, because it's getting there, man. It's really getting there. I see maybe five more, maybe five,
Yeah,
at the most six. And I think I'm just gonna just turn my keys in and maybe do some more training and some more mentoring. But as far as me being a truck driver, actually driving, I, can't see past six, maybe at
I
the
got
most.
you. I got you. Go ahead,
At the
Steve.
most.
do I know this kind of rhetorical. Do you have any regrets on what you've done in the trucking industry? I got asked that one day, and I don't have any regrets at all. Everything, if I had a mistake or made a mistake, it was a learning opportunity.
I've always been taught that. I mean, when it's good, you don't complain. I
Exactly.
mean, this lifestyle, that's what I call it. It's not just driving a truck. It's a family. It's a group, and being a part of it, man, has changed me in a way that I'm enjoying every day I go to work. I enjoy every day I wake up and make my way to work. I have this little ritual that I do: get my coffee, get in the truck, turn my music up loud, and when I get
Exactly.
there, everybody's glad to see me, and they're waving and they're patting me on the back. They can't wait for me to get there. They're asking questions. I love it. I
Exactly.
truly love it. If I had to say there's one regret, that I didn't become an ATA road team captain earlier in my career. I should have been looking more into that aspect a lot sooner in
Yes,
my
sir.
career. I could have been having this fun that I'm having now as a result of that much earlier in my career.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes,
Right.
sir. Totally agree.
All right, gentlemen, we have come to the top of the hour and we need to close the show out. Earl, we always close it out with a word of safety to the listening audience. So take it away, Earl.
Okay, I'll say this. When you're out there on the road, be respectful of the size and the shape of the vehicles that you're following. There are definitely blind spots, but if you can't see them in their mirrors, they can't see you in their mirror. So be respectful of that. I say to my kids, my wife, and all my family members, the best place to be is not around them at all. That's
Right.
the safest place.
That's right. All right, Steve.
You either pass them and go on, or let them go on.
That's right.
Amen. Yes, sir. Everybody be safe out there. And remember, the most important trip is that trip home. Go home and see
Ab-
that
That's
family.
right.
God bless y'all.
All right.
Absolutely. And
You
hey,
guys
let
gotta
me
have me back. I had too much fun doing this. We can do this again anytime you're ready.
We'll do it. We'll sure do it, Earl. Hang on till we go off the air, Earl. We'll talk to you on the other
All right.
side real quick, like, okay? I want to
Okay.
tell the listening audience that y'all remember March the 25th in Ellenwood, Georgia, the Safety Drive for a Cure. We support the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. A lot of good people, a lot of good drivers there, raising money for one great cause. So y'all remember that one there. And y'all, whenever you're out there driving, y'all look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. We'll see you right here next week on Truckers Voices. Y'all have a good night.
Everyone.